Welcome back, everyone, to the Rooted Lifestyle Podcast. We're your hosts, Camryn and Justus Woods.
Hey, guys. We have a very interesting episode ready for y'all today. We have officially been married for 1 year.
1 whole year.
As of today, March 25th, 2024 marks 1 year of marriage.
Which has been amazing. It's been incredible. And it's funny because we've been to all these other weddings and stuff over the last year or so. And it's like, we always think like, we just got married.
Yeah.
And then we just went to a wedding, your sister's wedding recently. And then we're like, we just got married. But then we thought, and we're like, we didn't just get married. That was like a year ago.
I know. The time flew. Like, does it feel like it's been a year for you?
No, but then I look back to everything that we've done since you moving here. Now I can't even remember what it was like when I was here by myself.
Yeah.
We talked about this. I was like, I don't know what I did when you weren't here. I think I just did.
You hung out with your friends at work.
I worked out and did laundry and made food on the weekends.
You would meal prep every single Sunday.
And I would clean the apartment on weekends.
You would. And then I would come visit and stay for like a week, and it was the best. But yeah, that feels like forever ago. Me living at home before moving here feels like forever ago, which is crazy. But it's been so great. The 1 year thing, like I never know how to respond when people say, does it feel like it's been a really long time? And some people are like, oh yeah, it feels like it's been 100 years. But I'm like, no, it feels like it has been like 6 months. Like, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, I don't know. Because when I was kind of doing some research for this episode, and just
what were you researching? Like, what should I learn in marriage?
Well, okay, so for context, so this episode is going to be centered around us talking about what we've learned in our first year of marriage. Both Camryn and I have each wrote down 4 things, and we did not tell each other what they were. So this is going to be a live discussion.
Watch them be the exact same
of what we've learned in the 4 years. But I was looking up I just looked up first year of marriage on TikTok. And just to see, because I'm sure there was other podcasts that would have talked about that. And every single one, without fail, was your first year of marriage is going to be so hard. Like the first year was the hardest. Everything is hard. And I was like,
Grinch.
It's been fun. I don't think, and I'm not saying that we have the perfect relationship, but I feel like it's just been fun. And that could be because, we did long distance for 5 years. And, the fact that we weren't living in the same city, same state for 5 years. So we get to actually do stuff together now. Right. So I think that could be part of it. But
I know it's funny because I feel like when you think back and you ask people what in marriage was really hard for you guys, blah, 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 blah. A lot of people talk about finances, or a lot of people talk about where they live or just money in general. And I feel like you and I just have a pretty good understanding and transparency when it comes to those things.
I feel like we're open, transparent. We communicate a lot, which we learned a lot through dating long distance.
100%.
A lot of communication. And it's interesting. I had seen this one, I think it was a pastor who had talked about it, that the number one cause for divorce it's not cheating. It's not money. It's unmet expectations or unsaid expectations. So it's I expected you to do,
but I never told you
why, but I didn't tell you, but I expected you to do it. And because you didn't, now I'm upset at you.
Right. I feel like truly going in, like we said, our marriage is not perfect. Our relationship is not perfect, but going into marriage, I really think that premarital counseling, doing 2 different types, was awesome. Any premarital counseling set us up for success. And I think we both did our own study, or our own time with the Lord of allowing him to guide us, show us, allowing us to obey him, that sort of thing. And I feel like we've just been in constant communication the whole time. And I truly do think that post 5 years of long distance dating, being married has just been bliss in the sense of it's the thing we've been aching for 5 years that has finally been able to come true.
And I think the aspect of the premarital counseling and all the knowledge and stuff that people have imparted on us, even from older couples that we look up to, things that people had told us all throughout the engagement process, just about how to manage conflict and deal with conflict. I feel I'm not saying that we don't have conflict because we do, but when we do have conflict, I feel like there's an automatic shift of going to, okay, how do we resolve this, rather than just kind of continuing that cycle. And that's because we learned about this earlier on, and we're kind of putting it into work now. Freshman year of college,
baby.
Yeah.
When we would have conflict over the phone, texting.
Well, yeah, but then also just in what we learned in premarital counseling and stuff.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about the conflict we used to have and how we did not handle it right.
Exactly. So we
learned.
And we're still
And we're
learning.
still
So we
learning,
we still don't handle everything right. I know I don't. But
Right. Same.
overall though, it's been really exciting.
Oh, it's been great. Like I truly have nothing bad to say. Like
Yeah.
normally girls are like, oh, but living with a guy is disgusting. Justus is like very clean.
Thank you.
Sometimes he's cleaner than me, I swear. Don't say anything. Don't be mean to me. Let's be nice to each other on this podcast.
I am not going to start any type of conflict.
One thing Justus learned is that Camryn is...
She's beautiful.
Oh, you didn't know that before?
Yeah, I didn't really know that before.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Both of our phones are about to die. So.
I know. So we got to get
to
it pretty quick. So like I said before, Camryn and I both wrote down 4 things that we have learned during our first year. And it's interesting because, you know, a lot of the times people say like, oh, you've only been married for a year. You don't have a right to speak about like what a marriage looks like and stuff. And I feel like
wrong. We've done it for a year.
You're able to speak on things that happen during this season of life. Like, yes, we can't speak on having kids. Yes, we can't speak on being 10 years married. Right. But we can speak on the transition of not being married to being married and what that is like and
like
what
full
we've
transparency of what we've learned, what we've gone through. And to be fair, like truly life has been really hard at some points, but we haven't had like a ton of deaths in the family or like a ton of horrible news or like really, really hard things we've had to go through together as a couple. Yeah, exactly. We have had to go through hard things this first year of marriage, but nothing like
nothing like very extreme, like
losing our job. You know what I mean? It's like life has been awesome, but not that conflict and troubles won't come. But thankfully, our first year was awesome, and I really have nothing bad to say about it. So, do you want to start off with number 1, the first thing you learned?
I can start off. So number 1, it's funny because I'd already said it and I forgot that I even wrote this part down.
Oh my gosh.
Number 1 is don't have unmet expectations. So a tangible example of this would be, keeping score of things and expecting the other person to do something because you did something else. So like, for example, I could be making dinner tonight and then I get upset at Camryn because I'm like, oh, she didn't make dinner tonight, or I made dinner last night too. So it's like an unmet expectation for me to think that we would be trading off to like make dinner. So then I get upset internally, and it's not even something that I vocalize to her about having an expectation. I was
about to say, this is news to me that you've ever been sad about.
This is an example. Or like, for example, like if I cleaned the bath, like I was cleaning the bathroom all the time, and then you weren't. I'm not making you out to be the bad person all the time, or like you were cleaning out the bathroom.
You're good.
You were cleaning out the bathroom all the time, and I never cleaned the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then you get mad at me because you were like, I thought we were supposed to do this together, and I'm just sitting here not doing it, not expecting to do it because like, oh, you're doing it, you're cleaning it, and you like cleaning, so like you can do it. And then you get mad, and then you have an unset expectation of me. Cleaning the bathroom. So I think it mainly goes around to like learning how to switch the mindset of being a servant because you love them. It's not like I get to. It's not I have to. It's I get to.
Yeah.
So I get to do these things for you because I love you, and it's not a trade-off. It's not like I give you this, you give me that. It's like I love you and I love the life that we have, so I'm going to do this to make our lives better, and I'm doing it to serve you.
Right.
And part of this like unmet expectations is communicating with each other. So if it does get to a point that I feel like it's too much or it does start to upset me, it's my responsibility to communicate that to her because she's not going to know unless I tell her. It's her responsibility to communicate it to me because I'm not going to know unless you tell me.
Right. I think that's like one of the biggest things, especially for women. Like we were watching that movie last night, Murder Mystery.
Murder Mystery, yeah, with Adam Sandler.
The main girl, Jennifer Aniston, she was doing someone's hair, and she was just like, I don't want to tell him to take me to Italy. Like, I just want him to know. And I feel like, especially for girls, I'm not speaking for every girl, I'm speaking for myself, but I feel like it's such a big thing of like, I want you to know that I want flowers on Valentine's Day. I want you to know that I want dinner cooked every once in a while. Like, I just expect you to be this perfect person 24/7 of reading my mind. And that's just like so not the case. Yeah. So I definitely agree. I think that was one thing we both learned in marriage. And just communicating. Like, I would never sit you down and be like, okay, I'm expecting you to do this. Yeah. But I feel like it is just a communication of like, we don't even say, I did this last night, can you do it tonight? It's more like, can you help me do this right now?
Yeah, it's never bringing up like past things.
Yeah, because
like
we don't hold that
keeping
against
score
each
and
other.
holding it against each other. Because then it's like, that's when it gets really murky. You start adding up things.
Okay, so I'm laughing. Is that it for number one? Okay, so I'm laughing because when Justice and I were in the car thinking about this episode, I like gave my first example, and then we were like, "Oh no, we're gonna let's surprise each other and come up with them, and then whatever." But I feel like you literally just took the one I said in the car, and so I kind of wrote it again. I kind of wrote it in the same way. I knew this was gonna happen.
Wait, we said the same thing?
No, okay. So you took it in the sense of unmet expectations.
Yeah.
I guess mine has a little twist to it because I'm focusing on like your heart posture being servant-hearted instead of like being selfish.
Okay.
So I learned that because I feel like I've always been, not always, but I do enjoy doing things for people that I care about. Like I love to make people happy. I love making them breakfast or making them bed or cleaning up their stuff without holding a grudge. But I do think it was the learned thing where because I wasn't visiting, like I'm with you every single day. I don't always want to be the one to make the bed. I don't always want to be the one to make breakfast or dinner or cleaning or anything like that. And even though your job is way more demanding than mine, like I just do as a fault, like have to cook more or clean more or something because I just have way more time at home. But I feel like I don't do those things out of a hard-hearted posture, like mad at you in the sense of I have to serve him this way. Exactly what you said. Like I get to instead of I have to type of thought. Yeah. So I feel like that is the one thing that I've learned the most of just
it's like the servanthood piece.
Yeah. And me not expecting you to always say thank you.
Yeah.
Because I think I was like, why isn't he thanking me? Like I made the bed. Like, why isn't he thanking me every single day? But it's just like, not that you're used to it and you're not grateful for it. It's just like you tell me thank you in other ways and for other things. Like I'm just not expecting that every single thing I do in the house for you to be like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You know?
No. Yeah.
I feel like that was something that I had to learn of like, I will do things and I need to have the posture of not expecting anything back, which sounds weird.
No, it definitely makes sense
true.
Because I think in our circumstance, our situation of how we saw each other only once every month or every couple months, every time that we had together was like special. So it's like everything that we did for each other, it was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, this, oh my gosh, that. Like we were so invested into every little thing that the other person did during that like weekend that we had together, that now we're with each other every day. And if we were to be that invested into everything we would get nothing done. Right.
It would just be thank you bombs all day long. Yeah. So that was my first one.
Okay, cool. No, that was a really good one.
Thanks, babe.
Number 2, outside of our relationship with Christ, your relationship with each other is first. It's above job, friends, hobbies. And I think for me, like this one was something that I'm still trying to learn of, like making your relationship is a priority. It's like, it's hard because you still feel like you're kind of dating in a sense, but
because you do still date each other.
Exactly. But it's a completely different commitment now. Like you're husband and wife. It's like it's a union. It's a bond. It's a legal bond, and it's something that God takes very seriously, and that we take very seriously. So it's not something that it's not something that should be easily looked over in terms of like, oh, I'm going to do this instead of being with you. Oh, I'm going to work even more, even though, I've worked past the limit already, but I just want to keep going. It's like neglecting you and putting everything else above you, outside of like, your relationship with God. But that's still something that I'm trying to balance, just because, my job does require like longer hours certain days. And it's like, okay, how do I balance between spending time with you, giving you attention, but then also, still having a job and doing things that I enjoy and I like doing. And I think I'm still trying to find the sweet spot of that, but that's definitely something that I'm learning or have learned is how to prioritize, your partner.
Yeah. I think we've definitely talked on the podcast about like how much Justus's job can be. And thankfully, since this one like section of work you were in, it hasn't been that crazy. Yeah. So I think it'll be interesting when and if work does come back up.
Again.
But no, I think you have done a good job, and you've been very honest about okay, like I have to do this. Like I don't have a choice with work. I mean, I could quit my job, but then like that's just probably not the best decision for us right now in the season of life we're in. And so I do feel like you've been very good at vocalizing. Like, I'm so sorry. I want to hang out with you tonight, but like I do have to do work. And then you'll come home and do work instead of staying at the office. So like I'll feel like I'm with you, even though like mentally we're not together truly. But yeah, definitely putting you first over everything. Work, friends, family.
And it's hard to do that too. And it's like, it's a little bit, it's funny. I just thought about this now. It's a little bit of like equating your relationship with each other to like your relationship with God of like, you know, when you're about to make a big decision or you're about to do something, you typically want to, you know, pray, check with God about it and like have that affirmation from him before you continue something. And it's sort of like from at a lower sense, it's like, you know, on the day to day of like making sure, oh, is it okay if and it sounds like dumb, but is it okay if I like go to the gym with my friends during this time and stuff? Like I know we were supposed to do this, but you know, is it okay if I go to the gym? Is it okay if or you saying with your friends, it's okay if I go out to dinner with my friends tonight on a Friday night when I know that normally we would be together. So it's like, it's those things that also even just vocalizing and speaking it makes the other person know that you're thinking about them as a priority. Right. It's not like you're just planning a bunch of stuff around them. You're not even acknowledging like what they want to do. Right. So I think that's part of it too, is having that communication of saying like, okay, are you okay if I do this? Like, let's work something out where we can, you know, find a balance. Right.
And it's not even like we try to control each other at all. It's more or less like actually asking and saying those things gives us the freedom to truly know in our relationship, like obviously within the bounds of marriage, but like we can do whatever we want. Like, you're going to say no if you're like super uncomfortable with it, but that would be something like outlandish that I would probably never even ask to do, you know? So that, I love that one. That one's great. So the second thing for what I've learned in this 1 year of marriage is something that we've talked about before, but planning date nights in advance. That is like so key because I feel like we went through a season of life where we were doing really, really good at it. And then really, really bad. And I think that it's great because the really bad recently has been because we're with friends, which is so awesome.
Yeah, we had no friends earlier.
Yeah, we didn't have friends. So when we first moved here.
Date nights weren't a problem because we didn't have anybody else to hang out with.
It was great. It was so great. But then I think we both just like came to the realization, like after a month of literally not going on a date night, that we were like, okay, are we prioritizing our relationship? And like, yes, we would have time on the couch eating dinner together, but it still wasn't like we're carving out this hour to be together. And quality time is huge for the both of us. And like we've said before, we've spoken very highly of love languages and how important those are. So definitely would say within the first year of marriage, we've seen both sides of like prioritizing and not prioritizing date nights. And prioritizing them is very important because just like you said before, we're still dating. You know, that pursuit is never going to go away.
Exactly.
And so you have to keep it up and it's hard work. It's very hard work. So yeah, that's my number 2.
Sorry. I was looking at
someone didn't read over his notes before.
I completely agree with you. I think that I was going to say,
did you write something about that?
Yes, I was going to say. Okay. I just want to make sure. I was like, did I say this? Because I was, as you were saying it, I was like, I kind of wrote something that went along with it. But yes, I did. So my number 3 is that basically having things that you do together. A lot of people talk about in relationships, like, you know, you're supposed to have your separate hobbies and stuff. But I think it's just as important to have activities together that help you like grow closer instead of just sitting watching TV mindlessly. Even this podcast, doing this together, it's like an opportunity. I haven't heard any of this stuff coming from you, and it's like it's making me smile. It's making me happy seeing all the things that you've said that you've learned from our first year. So I think that's an important aspect, is like find activities and things that you can do and learn and grow together. And I think that's important because you're just going to be stagnant, just sitting and watching on the couch mindlessly. Because first of all, you're not even paying attention to the other person.
Oh my gosh. The amount of times we have the TV on or a movie on and we're literally sitting on our phones.
Exactly. We're both sitting on our phones. Horrible. The TV's on. Like we're not paying attention to the show. We're not paying attention to each other. Like, you know,
like, come on. It's so bad.
So we're not paying attention, but it's important to have those times. And it's just like, in a relationship is just have fun, you know, like playing pickleball. Like we bought pickleball paddles because we're going to start playing pickleball.
We're going to start.
We haven't found time to play yet, but we will.
We will. Even little things. So like if you don't want to spend money, there's little things at movie theaters where it's like a $7 movie night.
We did that all the time, like on
Top
certain
Golf
nights.
was half off.
When I wasn't working as late, we on Tuesday nights we would do like a Top Golf, or we would go to $6 movie nights and stuff. We loved going to the movies. Walk.
Literally go outside and give each other the uninterrupted time of truly just going on a walk.
Yeah,
it's the best. It is the best. Go on a coffee date. Go get $7 coffee and drink it up. Go to a workout class. Go to a workout class together and then go eat after. Go to the gym together. Like there are so many things. Make breakfast together. Even little things like that. Just not even saying let's remove our phones, but just it's kind of an understanding of like, okay, if someone texts you, check your phone. But let's just not like mindlessly scroll on TikTok and Instagram while we do have those times that we're trying to spend together of just like, this time is for you. Dating is so fun, and just keep it fun. Because sometimes people are probably like, I'm tired of going out to eat. Okay, then do something different.
Exactly.
Go paint. Go do a craft. Go play pickleball.
Keep things fun and interesting.
I love that. So that was your third one?
That was my third one.
Okay, awesome. So my third one, which we've been hitting on pretty much the whole time, and like we've talked about this all throughout long distance and everything, but I feel like our communication has gotten a lot stronger in the sense of kind of unmet expectations, like voicing expectations that we've had. We did that a lot before we got married. I feel like we do it a lot now. Communicating of like going through our week and reminding each other, oh, I have to do this with work on Wednesday night. Oh, well, I'm working at this time on Wednesday. Oh, Thursday we're doing this. Like, don't forget. Oh, can you help babysit Saturday? Like, I don't know, just communicating always, not from a standpoint of like, I'm scared you're going to get mad at me, but from a standpoint of like, I want you to be in this with me just as much as I'm in this with you.
Yeah.
And so I feel like our communication's gotten great. Or like there are times now that we've lived together for a year when you're really quiet. I'm learning to be comfortable with your quietness because I do truly know that that's what you need sometimes. Because like guys, before I lived with him, if he was quiet around me, I was like, oh my gosh, he's mad. Like, why is he mad? Because when I'm quiet, that means I'm mad, right?
Yeah.
Which is not a good thing, I don't think. I think I talk too much. But you guys know that. That's why we started this podcast, because I talk too much. But I would definitely say there's just like little mannerisms with you through communication that I've learned, in the sense of you're not talking, okay, you're probably fine, or you're hungry. If you're really not talking, you're hungry. But just like little communication tools that I've learned.
No, and those are things that are good to learn. Whether it's through us talking about it and me telling you those things, or you just like picking up on them, because you could easily say like, oh, why is he mad? Then you get mad, and then we're in an argument for no reason.
Right. And neither of us know why.
And and it's like, it's not even an argument of like yelling. It's just like a kind of like a bad mood of both of us.
So of just like being short with you.
Yeah. And then you're in a bad mood. Now I'm in a bad mood, and I wasn't in a bad mood before. So
we went through that, I would say, in the beginning of our marriage, just because that was my expectation of you always talking, because when we were together, we were always talking, and there was never a dull moment. Not that there are dull moments now, but I would also say, now that I'm thinking about it and like looking at your desk right now, in the beginning of our marriage, when you would come home to work, and you weren't talking to me, but you were in the same room as me, it would bother me so much. I was like, why is he ignoring me? But now I've truly learned, like, you've been able to say, okay, I need 10 minutes of uninterrupted work time. And then I literally wouldn't bother you until you were done. So I don't know. We've just learned, I think maturity also comes along with that, of realizing like, we're not in high school or college anymore. Like, you're not being petty. Like, we're done with pettiness. I would say. So that's on maturing. That's very important. But yeah, communication has just gotten so good, and it's been fun to like learn so much about you and the way that you work, and just day in and day out learning to work with you instead of against you.
Yeah, no, that's a really good one.
Thanks, honey.
You're welcome.
Okay, last one. Also, you said we were doing 3, not 4.
I thought I said 4.
Okay.
Do you not have a fourth one?
I have a fourth one, but it's not really like a fourth one. Okay. Like, it's not a lesson for people that are listening to learn, but it's more of like a thing towards you.
Okay. Oh gosh, should I be scared?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so my last one is that it's not enough to love your spouse the way that you receive love. You have to meet them at their love language. So, for example, Camryn knows this. So she's heavy physical touch.
I am.
Heavy physical touch.
And that doesn't mean bad things, people. Like, we're walking around the mall, I want you to hold my hand.
Yeah.
We are waiting in line for something, I want you to like
put my arm
hug on me, love on me, whatever. Okay.
So like I thought I liked physical touch, but it's like Camryn's like a whole nother level of physical touch.
Yeah, everyone's always like, it's always the boy. And I'm like, no, girls. It can be the girls too.
She's like another level of
it.
physical touch. So a tangible example of this would be like what you were saying. We're walking in the mall and her first inclination is to, you know, grab and hold my hand. But mine is like, okay, where are we going? Like I'm thinking about the place that we're actually going to or the people around.
Oh my gosh.
And sometimes I think about, oh, like, okay, now's a good time to hold her hand. But it's not the first thing, let me hold her hand. Or we're waiting for something. Oh, let me put my arm around her. So we kind of went back and forth with that a little bit just because she was like, okay, why aren't you doing these things?
Right. I'd be like, what's wrong with me? Like, why aren't you thinking of me first?
And I'm just like, genuinely, that's
communication.
Like
man.
when I'm going through a store, I'm just looking at the stuff like at Target. Like I'm not thinking about holding your hand.
I mean, I'm not either. It's just what I want to be doing.
But yeah, that's your love language. So I had to start actively in my head saying, okay, Camryn wants me to hold her hand right now. So I'm going to hold her hand in this place because she wants me to. So all to say is that, you know, your love language for each other can be different. And I know ours is the first one of our love languages is the same, quality time.
Yeah.
But then hers is physical touch. Or your first one's physical touch, is it?
It doesn't matter.
Well, our top two are both quality time, and then hers is physical touch, and mine is words of affirmation. So it's not enough just for me to like, you know, it would be easy for me to use words of affirmation for her because that's how I like receiving things. But I need to meet her at her love language where she's at to make her feel special, to make her feel loved. And it takes work because it's not always in your nature to do it to the fullest extent that someone else would want to receive it. So it's just a constant reminder in your head that you have to do these things.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so good. And that goes back to communication. Like we had to communicate. I've told you so many times, like, I would just love it if you gave me a hug during this instance. And you're just like, what? But you've learned. You truly have come such a long way. And I know it seems so silly, but it truly is one of the ways that I feel loved. And I'm not going to apologize for that because
you shouldn't apologize.
It is one of the 5 love languages.
I think there's 5.
I think. That's embarrassing if it's not. It is 5. But yeah, learning to love you through words of affirmation, because that's not my first thing. I'm so bad with words. Like the fact that I can even speak on a podcast. The fact that I can, here we go. The fact that I can even teach a fitness class and like speak it. Like I'm so bad with words. If you know me, you know.
It's funny though, because
how bad I am.
When everyone listens to this podcast, everyone says that you have such like an amazing podcast voice, tone, and just mannerism of like how you speak.
That's funny.
That's what everyone says.
That's
the
kind.
First time
I think like
this.
one person said that.
No, I've had multiple people.
Oh, thanks,
me.
babe. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really good one. My last one, I don't even know, but this is just what I wrote. One thing I've learned is to fully trust you. And I think that it's scary, but it's true how a lot of people who go into marriage, like don't fully trust their spouse. Not that they're scared they're going to cheat on them, but do you fully trust your spouse with being a spiritual leader? Do you fully trust them with finances? Like, can you safely say, like, I never have to look at our bank account, but I know you're doing what you know best and you're being transparent with me and all of these things. And I just think that that has been one of the best things ever to learn through marriage. Is just like constantly gaining your trust and knowing that I have you on my side just through everything. And of course, you're not perfect. You're human like that. You're going to have your faults here and there, but being able to trust you and trust you in our marriage with our spiritual life, finances, hard conversations, and so many other things. And so I think that any advice that I would give to people is just for the man to truly lead, but allowing yourself to gain wisdom from the Lord and not from anything else in the world, because the world's going to let you down. And I think that you've done a really good job of that, of gaining wisdom from the Lord and from people who are wiser than you, people in church, people who are going through the same seasons of life. So yeah, that's I'm sorry, no one can relate to fully trusting Justus. But,
everyone fully trusts me.
But that's that is one thing that I learned.
Thank you.
Through our year of
that's
marriage.
A great point that you made about just, you know, men in relationships. There needs to be kind of and it's not natural, because it's like, it's easy to be passive in a relationship, especially as a man. So it's like taking charge, and it doesn't look like, you know, like the toxic masculinity way, but it's like actually taking charge and leading your house spiritually, leading your house financially, leading your house in a way that people would want to follow you, because everybody wants to follow a good leader.
Right.
When people talk about, you know, not wanting to follow someone, it's because they haven't met or haven't been around good leaders.
Right.
But any good leader is worth following. So,
and I think you have to do it with gentleness.
Exactly.
Like what you were saying about
Love
like
and
that
gentleness.
masculine, like how in the Bible, when people talk about wives submitting to your husbands, how like you do think of that scary masculine man who's just gonna like control you, and that's just like not at all what the picture of the Lord wants. And so I think that it's really cool also for wives, like for women, to allow yourself to be led by a son of God, because it truly is freeing and rewarding. If they're filling up their cup from the Lord, then like your cup will also overflow with all of the good stuff that he's learning and everything. So I think it's hard to fully trust someone especially if you come from a lot of pain and trauma and just hurt from trusting people. Like, I don't take that lightly, and I do know many, many people who have been hurt by others and been hurt by churches and been hurt by men or women or whatever it is. But finding someone who has a great foundation and is working on their foundation, not just like saying I'm good with where I'm at, like I'm perfect, I'm good, whatever, like the Lord's got me. It's like, no, I'm continuously searching and gaining wisdom and seeking out the Lord. Because it's never even a question in my mind of like, oh, should I trust Justus in this? Like, literally not a question at all. Just because you over and over again have been so faithful and like fulfilling with your trust, which I love.
That's sweet. Thank you.
So I really do wish everyone could have a Justus. Like, I wish I could, not really, but like I wish I could kind of multiply him and just give him to everyone, because he's literally the best.
Oh, well, you make it very easy.
I don't, honey. I give you so much crap that you deal with, and you're the best for it. You do a great job.
You're sweet
at dealing with it.
Well,
1 year of marriage.
1 year marriage down.
1,000 more to go.
We're not going to be alive for that long, I don't think.
You don't know.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you taking the time to listen. Hopefully you gain some nuggets of wisdom if you're in this season of life, if you're about to enter this season of life, or if you're past it. Hopefully it's something that you can, grab and hold on to carry with you through different seasons.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. Yeah. And it's going to drop the day that we have our 1 year anniversary, which is so cool. And we're pumped.
March 25th.
We're excited. Love you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.